There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Good morning and welcome to this Valley News Now weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. I'm meteorologist Lisa Green, and we're going to check in on our clipper that's been moving through the valley. It created some hazardous travel this morning for some folks, especially early morning as some freezing rain moved through. We had some in the metro, heard reports of some ice on windshields and on sidewalks earlier on. Hopefully you were able to get that cleared away and treated here as we are heading into the afternoon hours today. We'll see our temperatures drop, so that ice is definitely locking in. And of course we've had some fresh snow in some places too, and then on top of that everybody's been experiencing a little bit more wind that turned northwesterly, and that has caused some blowing and drifting snow. So that's what we're going to focus on here as we're getting into the details of the forecast for today and beyond in your planner here. But first off, the winter weather advisory was canceled. We still have some blowing and drifting snow, but the intensity and the low visibility, not as bad as it could be. So that was dropped, though, again, I wouldn't just assume the roads are free and clear either. We'll take a look at road conditions in just a moment. Here's a look in Thief River Falls. You can see that we've got some drifting across the road, especially in the distance here. Out in the open, you can see some of that drifting. Now, that's not affecting visibility, but what it does is blow that snow across roadways and kind of helps to essentially kind of polish up the road surface and add more ice to the road surface itself, especially in high traveled roads. You get, vehicles traveling over the road. If there is a little bit of ice that might melt, or snow that might melt with the friction from the tires, and then it freezes over, and then you add more snow on top of that, and then you just keep adding ice. So that's how that can happen with this blowing snow. And visibility, of course, going to be a factor at times. It's not so bad in this particular view, but there are some other places dealing with visibility issues. So let's take a look at road conditions really quick here. So let's head to our website, valleynewslive.com/weather. Go to the weather page. We're already there. I just told you to go to /weather. Sorry, guys. Now, click on road conditions at the top of the screen here. So that opens up a page where if you click, you'll open up each state's website, the DOT site. It's just kind of a nice one-stop shop. Also Manitoba's road conditions website there. I already have them pulled up, so I'm just going to take a look at what we've got up here right now. So this is improved. Earlier today we had a travel alert for Cass and Richland counties for the ice, and now we've seen improvement. That has been lifted, and we still have some ice out on the roads. Anywhere where you see yellow, that's ice or compacted snow, whether it's solid yellow or this kind of dashed yellow, that's scattered ice. And that's still the case being reported in Fargo. So some ice still being reported on the roads there. And Grand Forks looking more into the green. And again, green doesn't necessarily mean we're free and clear. It just means we're okay for the season. We're good for the season. So something to keep in mind. And then up to the north are a few pockets where we have snow-covered roads from the blowing and drifting going on. So taking a look, I'm going to turn on our layers and turn on our cameras. Let's take a look at some of these roads up here. So this is the Clyde area west of Langdon. You can see it looking pretty wintry out there, very white. But the road surface, there are pockets where it's fine, and then other times where you see some drifting on the roads in that area where we're getting some accumulation. Let's go east of Langdon, and again, doesn't look too terrible, but it doesn't look perfect. And let's see here. Let's check Highway 2. This is the Michigan area. The nice thing is we've seen some clearing in the wake of the Clipper. So we've had a little sunshine for a minute or two, which is nice to see break out. And late February sunshine is stronger than late December sunshine. So it can make a difference on those darker surfaces. And there's Emerado, not looking too much different. We'll go south, check in on some of these cameras by Fargo. This is I-29 near 40th Avenue. I believe that's Rose Creek there. So yeah, we're looking at, conditions that aren't too bad. A little farther south, let's go down to the state line. Not bad. The road does look maybe wet. But again, you can't rule out some icy patches in these spots. So that's North Dakota. Let's check in on Minnesota. And we've got areas in pink and blue. And these are a little more generic. The coloring is, it's either just partially covered or completely covered. You have to hover over the highway to get more details. Ice on roadway. And if you want even more detail, click on Highway 10 and it'll tell you exactly where you are. Ice on the roadway. It'll show you a recent plow cam view. Looking pretty good there. But then we're getting, the Frazee area. We've got a sensor that's highlighted in red. It's reporting high winds, so there could be some blowing snow in this area around Frazee. And we've got reports of high winds in the Tenney area. Doesn't look too bad there. But again, there are places where we've got blowing snow. Another site, St. Vincent, that doesn't look too bad either. So I'm glad to see that and share that with you, that it's not dire out there. I'm going to turn on our cameras. That's Frazee again. Lake Park. There's a little sheen on the road there in one of the lanes. Could be a little ice being reflected by the sunlight. So yeah, that's an area again where you might not see it right away, but there's some ice on the road on that right side of the lane, or likely left side of the lane there. Okay, so that's not too bad, but again, just a heads up that we're still seeing some areas of blowing, drifting snow and some ice on the roads. We've got ice on our camera. This is at Newman Outdoor Field. It's built up from this morning. This is leftover from this morning, and it is kind of melting away a little bit. If we can get some more sunshine breaking out, I think that would help out with that a lot. But again, areas where we've got to watch out for a bit of ice here this morning. Let's take a look. I want to talk about this. We talked about it on the Valley Today a little bit this morning, the difference in precip types and what causes that. So I want to go over that really quick, but we won't get into too much detail here. So basically, when we talk about the different types, and these are color coded to match what you see on our radar. So green, rain, pink is freezing rain, sleet's that purple color. Sometimes it's just a mixed precip, and then blue is the snow. And so we had a situation where we had a low pressure system moving through, and it had some fronts extending from it. And so we had warmer air punching in ahead of the cold front. And that warmer air can create some different types of precip coming through. Instead of just all snow, the way that interacts with the colder air mass in place helps to contribute to more mixed precipitation or freezing rain. Again, this is out ahead of the cold front. And so we'll pull this map or the graphic back up full screen. So what you're looking at here is, so let's say this line here is the 32-degree line, a vertical cross section here. So we've got that cold front. Let's say this is let's say this is the warm front. So fronts, by the way, are named after the air mass that's advancing. So that would mean the warmer air mass is advancing. So we've got warmer air moving in over a colder air mass. So it's moving like this. But what happens is, because the colder air is more dense, it's heavier, so it's going to stay at the surface, and the warmer air is lighter. So that colder air, as the warmer air advances and runs into it, that warmer air will run into that colder air mass and be forced up. And that's how we, oftentimes get precipitation in a warm front, with that kind of a scenario happening here. And then, on the flip side of things, a cold front advancing shows, we'll clear that away. There we go. So if a cold front is advancing, then that's running into warmer air, and it's undercutting the warm air. So it's also forcing that warm air up. And that causes rising motion and a more abrupt rising motion. And that's where you get some of your, what we call more convective events, thunderstorms, that kind of thing, when a cold front moves through. A little more dynamic situation here. So we actually had, it's a little complicated. We actually had a warm front and a cold front moving through at the same time today, but I just want to explain the basics after I just went through that whole explanation. So we've got a situation here today where we saw all these types of precip on the radar. And so what happened here is with that warmer air, any precip that's up in the clouds in the warmer air where temperatures are above freezing and falls all as rain. Now, in the warm air that's kind of passing over a colder air layer, things start to change. And on the flip side of that, if we're in a 32 or lower air mass, both at the surface and up at the clouds, that entire column of air is below freezing, and so the snow falls and stays as snow. So it's the in-between that gets a little more complicated. So what happens is we see the ice crystals in the clouds start to fall into that warmer air mass. When it comes to freezing rain, it melts into rain and stays rain all the way until the very last second when it runs into that freezing air mass, and so then it freezes up as it reaches the ground. And then you could see there's more length in that column of air for sleet. So what happens, falling, and they start to melt, but not enough time for them to completely melt. And then they hit that colder air mass and they stop melting. And so then you get sleet, or really wet kind of flakes falling, or mix of the two going on at the same time. So we saw all of those things happening here this morning, and I'll show you that here in our radar. So hopefully that all made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on our Facebook Live. And so let's move into our radar. Oh gosh, I forgot I had another little part of this graphic. Just some driving tips when it comes to black ice. Some reminders here, avoid cruise control, number one. But if you run into some black ice, do not slam on the brakes. We know this, but it's good to be reminded again. Take that foot off the accelerator and keep your steering wheel straight if you run into black ice. Hopefully you don't today or anytime soon. Okay, so let's move on now to the forecast, or the latest radar. And I'm actually looking back in our radar. My graphics don't want to advance. There we go. Very slow. Everybody's sluggish today. Okay, so this is over the last 6 hours. So you can see how the radar really was bright and really showing those colors. We'll pause this. I'm going to pause the radar and go back to this morning so you can see all that we were dealing with around that 5 o'clock hour this morning. And you could see a huge area of freezing rain showing up in the pink here, this pink color, and the purple, the sleet that we just talked about in that same area. And as we go forward a little bit, you can see that continues through the 6 o'clock hour as well. And so that's why we had that travel alert for Cass County, for Richland County. We saw a lot of that ice there. Meanwhile, it was colder in this area, and so we stayed as snow in parts of Minnesota, and Detroit Lakes had a little coating of snow in that area too. That's since moved on. We'll move forward now. And we've kind of cleared out. You can see some areas where we've had some clearing here. This is around 9:43, and then we'll continue going forward. And now there's a big break in the clouds, but I am looking to the north for the possibility for a few more flakes. You can see a few of them detected on the radar from time to time. And I can't rule out, there's even a little pocket of something here that we might be seeing some light snow showers with. So I can't rule that out being a possibility. Even though the main precip part of this event is over, we're looking at the possibility for some of these snow showers to drop in with the colder air moving in. So places like Fargo, this little band that's over the Mayville radar site is kind of drifting in Fargo's direction. So you might see some flurries in the FM area here as we head into the next hour or so. So we'll be keeping an eye out for this area for more, quick little shot of snow. And we're also watching out for some wind too that's stirring up the snow in that area too. So let's see here. Looking at visibility, that's 1.5 miles in Monoman. So again, a little blowing snow going on there. Langdon, 3 miles, 5 in Crookston. So there is some reduced visibility as a result of that blowing snow. And then there's the wind gusting into the 30s, 31 in Jamestown and in Grand Forks. And that direction, it's a cold direction, northwest or northerly direction. So that's colder air pumping into the valley and in the wake of the cold front. So here's a look at our temperatures, ranging anywhere from a whopping 9 in Langdon all the way up to some milder numbers still in the south. Sisseton's at 29, it's 27 in Elbow Lake and Alexandria. Fargo's at 21. We were at 28 earlier this morning, so again, our temperature's going down. And our wind chill, this is the factor you want to pay attention to as you're getting dressed to head outside. This is what it'll feel like for you. Some of us in the double digits below. Langdon, 11 below wind chill, 10 below 0 in Howlock and Thief River Falls. It feels like 5 below in Grand Forks. Meanwhile, in Fargo, 7 above. And our wind forecast, it stays breezy. We're looking at 20s to about 30 miles per hour for gusts and steady speeds in the teens through the afternoon into this evening as well. So it's not really until late tonight that I noticed we were going to see our winds come down. So here's a look on our hour-by-hour planner. We're going to kick things off at noon. You can see wind coming in out of the northwest through the afternoon, and those little streamers of snow that we were kind of seeing now starting to show up on the radar may impact us into the afternoon, into the evening, especially in the northern valley, but southern valley can't rule that out. And temperatures that just continue their downward trend through the day. So by 10 o'clock tonight, single digits north, teens to the south, and we drop from there. So we're going to see clearing going on overnight, and the wind eases up too, which will be nice to not have the blowing snow, but that calming of that air allows our temperatures to drop even more. And so we're near 0 tomorrow morning. Southern Valley, a few degrees above. Northern Valley, a few degrees below, essentially. So cold start. This is not, again, not unusual at all for February, but it is a little chillier. And then moving on into the day, a slight chance for some snow showers for a very southern viewing area heading into Wednesday evening. Okay, here's a look at our extended planner. Temperatures into they're going down now. We were up to 28 this morning. They're dropping from that point on. So by tomorrow morning, that difference between this morning, our daytime high, to the morning tomorrow, it's going to be a big drop. We're going to be around 3 tomorrow. We warm into the teens, but again, not very warm. And then we notice that difference Thursday, some sunshine returning Thursday into Friday. But Friday will start to get windy. We're going to see a clipper pass by well to our north precip-wise, but it's still going to bring some wind and some colder air with it. And so the wind will pick up Friday, especially in the second half of the day. Leading up to it is mild. But then this weekend looks a bit chilly for that last day of February and the first day of March and first day of meteorological spring. So not feeling all that spring-like on that first day, but look what comes after it. Heading into next week, some milder temperatures, some 20s to around 30, and even next Friday, maybe getting to 40 degrees. We'll be watching out for a system Friday and into next weekend. This is way beyond, but some models are trending to a little more active system into the following weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So something we'll be keeping an eye out for, and things definitely could change. So we'll take a look and see if we've got any questions. I'm not seeing any here on our Facebook page. And I know we've got folks watching on our YouTube channel as well. I'm just not looking at that at the moment. But anytime you have any questions, feel free to ask. But it looks like everybody's good to go. So we're going to call it a day here as far as this particular update. But of course, we've got more updates all throughout the day here on Valley News Now, and we'll have another update from our weather crew this afternoon and as we head into tonight. And of course, Valley News Live on TV and on our social pages. You can always check that out, and our digital options to our app, VNL Weather app, and valleynewslive.com. All great tools to keep track of road conditions, the weather coming your way, and what we're dealing with here as we continue on through this last week of February, if you can believe it. It's still hard to believe that March is around the corner. I feel like 2026 just started, and here we are already thinking spring as we're looking ahead to March. So not today. Today we are dealing with winter. Be careful out there. We did have that ice again this morning in some areas, and there may still be some sidewalks that are pretty slick as you are heading out the door, so be careful if you're stepping out here for today. Otherwise, have a safe and happy Tuesday, and we'll be back here tomorrow, and we will be bringing you updates on the warm-up for the end of the week tomorrow as well. And this has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800 Water Damage of North Dakota.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800 Water Damage of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800 Water Damage of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.